every year, Australians for Constitutional Monarchy holds its national conference. And of course, a theme of that conference is always the year in review. And 2020 is no different to those previous years in which ACM has been functioning since the referendum. And there are a number of matters which had to be discussed, and these are discussed in a series of separate videos, but this is just a summary of the lot. And one of the things we had to discuss firstly and inform constitutional monarchists and those interested is the attempts to introduce a republic through the back door. I say the back door, that is, doing it without the people being involved, doing it without a referendum. And it may well surprise you, there are politicians who are seriously considering doing this through the back door. It won't succeed because we'll do everything to stop it. But the fact that there are Republican politicians who would consider doing such an undemocratic thing is, I think, absolutely appalling. The second matter that we had to discuss is a very significant change in the strategy of the Australian Republican movement. Believe it or not, they've had the same strategy for about 20 years. It's failed completely, but they still had that same strategy, which was to first have plebiscites. Plebiscites to train the Australian people into agreeing to certain themes until eventually you get to a referendum, locking them in. That was never going to work, and I think they've probably released that now. They've changed their strategy, and in the background of that was another matter, and that is the palace letters. The letters between Sir John Kerr and the Queen. There were some Republicans who foolishly thought that this would be the thing which would, the magic bullet, the silver bullet, which would bring down the constitutional monarchy and hand a republic to the Republicans, let a republic fall into their laps. And they thought that the Queen would be shown to be somehow involved. It was as if they were thinking that the Queen was barracking for Sir John Kerr to sack Gough Whitlam. Of course, that wasn't the case. Sir John Kerr insisted all along that he would not involve the Queen. He would not even tell the Queen what he was going to do, and she certainly wasn't involved. Nevertheless, the Republicans have gone ahead, some of them, which has created a stir and a dispute among Republicans in trying to push the line that the Queen was involved. And all of this relates to their changing their tactics, because what they're trying to do is to bring all the Republicans together under the same roof. Those who want to elect the president, those who want the politicians to appoint the president, and what they're doing is they're going to propose, I'm sure, a model in which the reserve powers of the Governor-General disappear completely. In other words, what they tried to achieve without it being expressed in the 1999 model, they will set out explicitly in the referendum. They'll call the president the Governor-General still, but the Governor-General will have absolutely no powers. The politicians will be even more unchecked. I doubt whether the real Republicans, those who want to elect the president, would agree with that. They may well, but in any event, it will be a disaster, and I doubt whether the Australian people would agree to such a thing when it comes. Then we had a number of other matters. The role of enthusiasm in a campaign, fraud in elections, which is very much a relevant topic because of what's been happening in America. The Beijing factor. There is, believe it or not, a Beijing factor, a communist Chinese factor, which is in the background, which we ought to discuss. And then, of course, there's the question of the head of state. The head of state is always there because it's the only argument now which the Republicans use, or rather misuse, to get their republic. And finally, I wanted to say some words on campaigning, recalling that there are two experienced organisations in Australia who've been involved in campaigning, ACM and the Australian Republican movement. The difference is that ACM won the referendum. The ARM knows how to lose a referendum. So that's what's in our annual review, and it will be shown in full among the various videos on our channel, but each item will be separately shown in a separate video.